in a lot of areas. Aditya Sood is with us now to take some questions on the market, his views on sectors, etc. as well. He's fund manager at Incred Asset Management. Aditya, good to have you with us here. Thank you for your time. More and more commentary on pharma, one is hearing from money managers, Aditya. It's not as if stocks have not done well. I think on an average, if you look at US generic companies, valuations have also moved up to about 27, 28 times one-year forward earnings. But, you know, people are coming around. Maybe this is the sector for this year. So you've been someone who's been bullish on, you know, diagnostics, CDMO, and hospitals, the entire value chain, I think. What are the best ideas here, Aditya, according to you?
So essentially, I think so within the pharma complex, one has to be mindful that there is an element of blockbuster and for the pretty much, you know, for the entire pharma industry, especially the large caps. Revlimid has been one blockbuster wherein, you know, obviously the industry has benefited immensely. So if you look at, you know, anybody who's exporting to US, we would like to look at earnings X of Revlimid, and that is where the challenging aspect is, because pretty much, you know, Dr. Reddy, Cipla, you know, or a Natco is pretty much exposed to Revlimid as a product. Although what we find very interesting and intriguing here is a tailwind of, in some of the CDMO players of tailwind of the biosecurity bill, which obviously is pretty much talked about with benefits, you know, Syngene and Newland. Newland has been a structural sort of a stock for us, and we have been very constructive on this name for, you know, last 3-4 years. I think so. The stock has done, you know, reasonably well. Possibly it is one of the best performing pharma stocks. You know, they have a massive tailwind of a biosecurity bill coming through. More importantly, they have a impeccable execution track record of 40 years of not even a single US FDA failed inspection, which is truly remarkable in my view. Margins have doubled. They are getting into the free cash flow zone. Stock is not very expensive. Earnings have, you know, obviously every quarter they have beaten earnings. More importantly, they are reducing their dependence on the commoditized API business. And this is a transformation which has taken, you know, 5 years for a Newland to happen. On the hospital space, particularly, you know, we are focused on value picking. So our framework has been to, you know, look at stocks, you know, wherein valuation is reasonable. Obviously, valuation has been challenging in this space in the sense that, you know, most of the large cap hospital names trade at 40 to 50 times earnings. So what we did actually is that, you know, we invested into Indraprastha Medical, which was under-owned by most basically. And we have seen, you know, Indraprastha Medical 2 days back, they reported numbers. So we believe that there is a margin uptick, which has surprised, you know, people, because margins move from 15% to now 18.5%, 19%. But more importantly, they get into the capex phase, wherein on a base of, you know, 755 beds, they would possibly end up adding 500 odd beds, and they are a net cash company. They have 400 crores of cash which can be deployed. So we are value seekers in this market. We also have an exposure towards Thyrocare on the diagnostic side. So if you compare and contrast Dr. Lal Pathlab, stroke a Metropolis to a Thyrocare, clearly there is earnings rebound now and growth is, you know, sort of surprising on the upside.
Do stay on, you know, as we get to the oil and gas space, wanted a quick comment on Tes Networks, because in the past you've spoken about how you've been bullish on Tes Networks, and now tomorrow the Bharat Net 2 Phase 2 tender opens up, and it's estimated to be a fairly large one. And Tes Networks in the past has spoken about how the equipment portion will be 8 to 9% of the overall size, and that's a total addressable market of 4,000 to 5,000 crore for the company, and they're hopeful of winning a fair portion of that. So which are the potential beneficiaries, and how is Phase 1 played out for these companies?
So I think so in the current phase, there is a talk that, you know, there are some 2 lakh panchayats that need to be connected, which obviously leads to a massive opportunity. The overall size of the tender is estimated to be closer to 65,000 odd crores. Obviously, Equipment is going to be a slightly smaller portion, pegged at 5 to 6,000 crore for a company like Tejas. One of the things that one should be mindful about is that Tejas has a excellent track record in terms of working with the BSNL, and more importantly, in the current form, Tejas is not really running a risk of receivables, which was a thing in the past, because system integrator for the 4G 5G upgrade is with TCS, which obviously is a Tata Group company again. So essentially what we see here is that this is going to be a very sizable opportunity. There are companies like HFCL, Finolex Cables, which obviously benefit out of the OFC complex. These opportunities for the base of revenue that these companies report could be sizable. I think so. What Tejas has mentioned in the last earnings presentation is that the domestic total addressable market for a company like Tejas is $5 to $6 billion. Obviously, the global size is fairly large. It is pegged at 120 to $140 billion. We believe that TAM is expanding at a very, very rapid pace. If you look at Tejas, what it was pre when Tata's made an open offer for the company, the order backlog has gone up by 7x. 2,000 crore order backlog has led to a 14,000 crore of order backlog, and obviously profitability is doing is being buoyed up by having an element of PLI benefit as well. So this is a real example of Make in India, essentially, and a company which has got very high, sort of a very wide moat, because it has got obviously 450 patents, which is truly remarkable in my view.
No, I mean, all points, good points there. Thank you very much for that sort of quick primer on Tejas there. Aditya, good conversation overall. Appreciate you joining us here with that perspective. Well, Lupin is what we want to focus